Hello and welcome to a video review of the HP laptop 14s. Specifically, I have with me the model 14s-dk0080au. Now the question is it any good? Well, let's find out. Right, so the 14s seems to be a budget model in the HP laptop lineup, and it comes in a variety of configurations naturally. As of the production of this video in June 2020, at the bottom of the range we have models that are powered by the AMD Athlon Gold processor, whilst the top of the range model is powered by Intel's 10th generation i5 processors. This particular model that we have here, the 14s-dk0080au, is sort of the mid-range, I would say. I got it for 712 Singapore dollars, that's 510 US dollars for you international folks, and I must say it is a pretty good deal. It's powered by an AMD Ryzen 5 3500U processor, so you can see the specs on the box here. It comes with 8GB of DDR4 RAM, which I believe is running in single channel configuration, and it's also equipped with a 256GB SSD, which I believe is in the M2 format, so not too bad I would say. Being a budget laptop, HP supplied the absolute bare minimum. You get the laptop, you get the power adapter, you get the power cable, and 2 instruction leaflets. And that's it. That's all you're getting inside the packaging. It's hardly Christmas for sure, but then again, you've got to take into consideration that this isn't a range-topping model, right? So therefore, you've got to adjust your expectations somewhat. To prove my point, there's really absolutely nothing else inside the box, apart from the spaces and all that, but again, budget laptop, so not expecting too much here. Onto the laptop itself, first impressions is pretty lightish I would say. I think it comes in at about 1.5 to 1.6 kilograms. This particular model of 14s comes finished in silver all around, and as far as I can tell, the construction's entirely of plastic. So unfortunately it does cheapen the feel of the laptop somewhat, but then again, you know what, this is a budget laptop after all, so HP can be forgiven for cutting some corners there. If you look to the right of the laptop, in terms of connectivity, we have 2 USB 3.1 Gen 1 Type A ports right here, along with the usual 3.5mm headphone jack, HDMI port, Ethernet port, as well as the charging port with an indicator LED here. On the other side of the laptop, now this is something that I find surprising for this price range. HP's chosen to offer a USB 3.1 Type-C port right here over that of normal USB Type A port, which I must say is kind of surprising. I mean, personally for myself, I would have preferred a USB Type A port because I don't have any USB Type-C devices, but there you go. If you are, if you have a USB Type-C device, you're in luck with this laptop. That aside, we've got a SD card reader as well, and the power LED as well as hard disk activity LED is located right here too. Moving over to the interior, we've got this nice brushed aluminium effect for the keyboard area, and I must say it does look pretty nice even at close-up, right? But one thing I did notice is that the panel gaps are a little bit inconsistent, especially if you run a finger over it, you can feel that the panels don't quite meet together very evenly. But again, this is hardly a top of the range laptop, so HP can hardly be faulted for cutting corners here. Moving over to the keyboard, you do get some flex, right, when you're typing. Not sure if you can see it in the video, and that's probably because of the 100% plastic construction. To be honest, this is nothing much to write home about. Moving over to the trackpad in itself and the buttons are adequate. To be honest, it does feel a little bit cheap in terms of the action, but again, it gets the job done, so can't really complain, especially at this price point. The 14s comes with a Full HD IPS screen with a standard resolution of 1920 by 1080 and a webcam as well. Viewing angles are okay, whilst for a laptop at this price range, I definitely was not expecting anything near a borderless kind of setup. So these black bezels are kind of acceptable, given the overall dimensions of this laptop, and I would say that the black color is kind of a welcome contrast to the overall silver color of the entire laptop. In terms of serviceability, this is where the 14S unfortunately loses its shine. Now, given that this laptop here doesn't belong to me and I don't intend to incur the wrath of its owner by opening it up, going by the teardown videos that I've seen on the internet for the 14S, what you've got to do is that you've got to remove these two rubber strips, which also serve as the feet for the laptop, to expose the screws that are holding the back panel in place. So undo those screws, you've got to undo these two screws here as well. Once that's done, you'd think, oh, I can simply just pop off the panel, but no. What you've then got to do is flip the laptop over to the other side, and this is where things will potentially start to get a little bit more painful. Right, so what you need to do is you need to find a plastic device that's able to fit right between the gaps here, and then you need to forcibly pry off the bottom panel of the laptop from the top. And one can only imagine the number of things that could possibly go wrong when you're trying to do so. Now, what this means is that servicing this laptop, unfortunately, is not going to be a walk in the park. So for those of you guys out there who intend to get this laptop and say swap out the SSD or upgrade the RAM, do be aware of what you need to go through to potentially try to remove the bottom lid so as to be able to get at the insides of the laptop. With the physical aspects of the laptop out of the way, let's do a deep dive on the specs for this particular model, the 14s-dk0080au. As mentioned earlier, it's powered by the Ryzen 5 3500U, which is based off the Zen Plus architecture. It's a quad-core by design, with 2 threads per core giving you 8 threads in total. It also does come with Radeon Vega 8 graphics built in too, which means you'll probably be able to do some form of light gaming, perhaps for older titles at Full HD resolution. Now, as expected, like I mentioned earlier on, the 8 gigs of RAM that comes with this laptop is running in single channel configuration, presumably to keep costs down. What this does mean, however, is that you can always choose to add an additional 8 gig stick to the laptop to give you a total of 16 gigs of RAM running in dual channel mode. Now that's assuming, of course, that you don't ruin the laptop while trying to remove the back panel, which I covered earlier on in this video. Now, I think that equipping low to mid-range PCs with SSDs is great because at the end of the day, traditional hard disks have always been the performance bottleneck for a lot of systems, right? And given that today's processors, even at the low end, already have plenty of oomph for an average user, having an SSD can make for a very snappy system, even if you have a low-end processor. Now, for this particular 14S, it comes with a Western Digital PC SA530 SSD, 256GB of space, right? Which I believe this is an OEM-only model. I might be mistaken, but I believe that this model does not come with DRAM cache, which is a little bit of a bummer, but then again, it's all in the name of saving costs, and to be honest, to the average user, you probably won't be able to tell much of a difference between a SSD, which has DRAM cache, versus that of one that doesn't have DRAM cache. Now, this particular 14S didn't come with too much bloatware, and as you can see, applications open pretty snappily. So if I were to open Microsoft Excel, it loads up pretty quickly. If I were to open PowerPoint, it's going to be the same thing as well. So I think, in other words, to the budget-conscious demographic that this laptop is targeted at, it's probably going to get the job done pretty well if its main purpose is to do word processing, internet surfing, and perhaps even a little bit of light gaming or even video editing. On the whole, I would say that the HP Laptop 14S is a decent budget laptop, but of course, your mileage may vary, right? Depending on the price that you paid and the specs that you get eventually. But for this particular model, given the price that was paid, I'd be pretty satisfied with my purchase. With that, thanks very much for watching. Do like and subscribe to the ALKtech channel if you've enjoyed the video, and I do hope to see you guys again soon. Take care.